Hey, how's it going? So, got this new camera, and then I discovered I was having a lot of difficulty uploading. So this is a test, and if it goes well, then yay. If it doesn't, not so much yay. But I'm going to do my card reading, or I'm going to do a card reading. In fact, I'm just going to pause this right now so that I can, come on. Oh, wait. Actually, I think it's this one. Where's pause? Nope. Okay. Well, I sort of knew where it was yesterday. Let me try one more thing. Nope. Okay, I don't know where the pause is right now, so I guess I'm just gonna risk it. I might have to do this more than once, but that's fairly typical. So, I think I need more light. I'll be right back. I'm just going over here. Well, that didn't help much, but it's not dark, so I'm just gonna go with it. Okay, so I pulled a card from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, and I did not bring the box over with me, so consult the internet or look at another video of mine. A card reading one, though. Okay, so from that deck, the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, I pulled Hollow Bone, and I mean, kind of can't miss the Native American component here. And this may be something that's true of other places. Not being from the other places, I don't know. So I'm just going to go with Native American. But you can see there's a elk head. Wait. I guess maybe a moose. Because the antlers are spatulate. And there are feathers hanging, and there are, well, those are pretty common motif in Native American culture, art, ceremony. They're just, you know, nature's a part of it. Nature's a part of everything. I guess we forget that when we build a bunch of our stuff on top of it. Oh, that is not closed at all. I don't want to dump this on me. Boy, it really wasn't on there at all. So, wow. So, the moose skull is blowing on that flute business there, and as you can see, all of that stuff is just sort of suspended somehow in beige air. I don't know. Maybe it's to represent like the smoke inside of the what is it called where they go in? I don't know that it's Hogan that it's called, but it's where they would do the ceremonies. I imagine it would be sort of like the sweat lodge or someplace like that. There are different dwellings for males and females in like Southwest indigenous tribes here in America, like Navajo. So I know that they have separate rooms or spaces for males and females to do traditional stuff, ceremonies and things. I don't know about it very well, so you get the gist. And the subtitle on here is Teachability, so that all of this has meaning. Everything on here, the way it's displayed, what it's made of, it all has meaning to that community. So I get that it has meaning. I couldn't tell you exactly what that is. Again, not an expert in that area. So I'm going to read from the guidebook. And the card is a number 28, which breaks down to 10, or adds up to 10, I should say. And 10 is 1, and 1 is the big one. 1 in the Trinity. Which one would be 1, do you think? The big one. Anyway, hollow bone, teachability, humility, being empty so that the wind of spirit can breathe through you. Deep. The hollow wing bone of an eagle is a flute for shamans. Wow, I mean, thank you, eagle. The appearance of the hollow bone invites you to become empty of your notions of who you are, to check your ego at the door, and to know that this is not about you. Can I just interrupt myself here to talk about, to continue talking about, like death, and it's not out of place here, what with the dead bird bones used for a flute. That's, my impulse is to think that's morbid, and I'm totally going away from what I interrupted myself to say. What I interrupted myself to say was, this is not about you resonates because I had mentioned yesterday that a friend had lost someone close to them, and I knew that they were really, really hurting, and that is the word right there, that was the problem, because there were things I wanted to say to comfort this person, but they were not exactly reaching out to me, so I felt it would be intrusive if I reached out, and, you know, everything that I felt like I wanted to say to comfort the person was starting with I, and I thought, I'm already, like, not totally famous on the usage of I in my own case, because it seems like I use it too much. And I did make the attempt to swap out I for me. For example, what I would say instead of I is, me wants to do something, or me don't like that, or me no likey. And it's okay, like I can do that in some occasions, but what I found when I tried to put it into full practice was that I was like censoring it, like going, okay, I can't say me here, I'll sound like a nut. And I don't know, when did I start caring about that? I don't know. But I just couldn't authentically stick with it, so I stopped doing it. When I write, it's easier to make the attempt to eliminate as many I's from my speech as possible. But when I'm sort of speaking on the fly, it's a little more difficult to edit. So please excuse the preponderance of I's. I would really like to shave down the number on that. We'll see how that goes. So anyway, to move on. Relinquish your need to be right and to express an opinion. The being right thing, I want to say that that's not as big a deal to me, but that's only really true if I'm by myself. If there's actually someone else here or that I'm talking to, then all of a sudden the need to be right tries to assert itself, and I'm better at, you know, going to myself, this is the answer, and then leaving it at that, and just leaving it inside instead of just like, here is the right answer, and by the way, and actually, I'm better at like biting my tongue on that than I am on not saying I so much. I'm not sure exactly why that is. So relinquish your right to express an opinion, as this will not change anything right now. Boy, is that ever true. You are being called to practice humility. The thing that I feel like that's true about is that everybody's got an opinion, and some people are real attached to theirs, and so they're not trying to have their mind changed by anyone, by you, you know, like whoever it is. And that's me sometimes. But I also can draw very easily upon how many times I have been wrong. Oh my God, I've been wrong so many times when I was so sure I was right. And I mean, you either gotta like develop a tolerance to that or learn to be quiet. So I don't know, maybe I'm doing like a little bit of both, like biting my tongue and not saying stuff. And there's another reason for doing that, by the way, and that is it just, I mean, when you're just all the time trying to be right all over people, how do you think that makes people look at you? Hi. So, maybe, like, let somebody else be right. Even if you know you're right, give someone else the opportunity. Like, you don't have to be the one always with your hand up. So, let me see here. You are being called to practice humility, so bite your tongue. Hollow yourself out and hear the wind blow through you and play you like a flute. See, that's meditation practice to me. If you can figure it out, and it can be figured out, you can shut down a lot of your noise. And sometimes it can take a long time. But like anything that you haven't done for, like you weren't born doing that, so you have to like develop that muscle. You will learn the language of the squall and the storm and understand the message in the summer breeze. There is an important communication waiting for you. Humility is the swiftest path for you to become like hollow bone. Well, yeah, I mean, if you let go of the need to opine and be right and just shut the hell up and let other people talk, well, that's, I would say, being, having humility. So since, like, that noise keeps going off, I don't know why it always does that. Well, I mean, I do know why. It's because I have the phone linked to my PC, but for some reason when I bring it in here to my living room, it is telling me that it's connected like every 7 minutes, so I don't know what that's about. But that's what that interruption is, because I'm looking at it as it's going off and no messages are coming up. Just thought I'd share that. Drop all notions and titles that bolster your ego. Hard. Eliminate the doer and allow things to happen of their own accord. Yeah, because you know what? Stuff's going to happen. You don't have to, like, direct it or put a hand on it or anything. Like, basically, stuff has already happened. If you are familiar with my talking about time concept, it's not just mine. It's not even mine at all. I found it in spiritual teachings, just like everybody else who talks about it, except for the spiritual teachers. Anyway, now I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yes, eliminate the doer. So that's hard. Again, like when my friend had their friend pass away, I wanted to like say something. I wanted to do, you know, something or other, because like I knew it had happened, but I wasn't hearing anything from them, which makes sense. I mean, I did get to see that their person died, you know, and I saw from that announcement that it was something that was major to this friend. And if it were not something major, I would have heard from them, right? And again, not about me or I, right? So I really had to keep, like, thrashing myself, you know, virtually in my mind. Like, get away from those keys. Don't tap a thing. Because everybody has their own grieving process. And I think it's, unless you're invited, stay the hell out. And that's why I did not end up saying anything. And I think that's right. That is definitely a time and a place to, you know, shut it. I mean, unless you're asked. Wait to be asked. Okay, so moving on. Remember that if you are willing, remember that you can accomplish most anything if you are willing to let someone else take credit for it. There's something to be said for teamwork too, by the way. Like, a lot to be said. We have this, at least here in America, we have this, like, winner's complex. And everybody's got to be one, and if you're not one, then, oh my God, everybody has something to say about how much of a loser you are. Which is not helpful. Like, make people feel like they can never win, like, just because they're losing the time that you happen to be seeing it. More times we could be biting our tongue, because it's not really necessary. If the person that's playing, if their team lost, or if the player lost the game, like if it was tennis, they don't need anybody else telling them that they failed and they did badly. Believe me, and if you think about it, you know this is true. They're going to be their own worst critic. They're already tearing themselves up for how badly they performed, because they did all the work. We just show up and watch. So, but it doesn't mean we can't understand, you know, what they're going through. So, Hollow Bone has come to caution you to believe only 50% of what others think, and only 10% of what you think. Trust your experience, not what you have read in sacred books or holy texts. Something to be said for that, too. This will allow you to turn apparent danger into opportunity. Remember that you are an insignificant grain of sand in the grand scheme of life, and as important as the brightest sun. That is interesting, because I saw this thing before I went to bed last night from this site called Science Alert, and they were talking about how the body has all these, it was like a whole other thing, but I'm focusing on this particular part that they were talking about. So it said that, like, a body will have a certain number of cells, and they're not all the same cell. Like, some are bigger, some are smaller, and the body automatically sorts them so that there's enough big ones and enough small ones that it creates a balance. And then if you have an injury or an illness, like, some of those cells will take a hit. So I guess part of the recovery process is getting the number of cells and the right kind together to create the right amount. So that makes me think about how we're an insignificant grain of sand in the grand scheme of life. But in that cell example, there had to be cells of, like, all different sizes, and that's what made it even and balanced. So we may be insignificant, tiny grains, but these tiny grains have a place with the larger grains and the boulders and whatever else. Okay, so I did pull another card from this I can show you. the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit guide, their book, deck. Card from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. And it was starfish. So, starfish, what the first, well, I think of a couple of things, and it's going to get gross again right up front. Because I think of, the first thing I think of is chocolate starfish. And if you don't know what that is, it's your butt. It's like, wait, it's your butt. And so, silly, I know, but I didn't make up the name. I just think it's funny. So, but about this kind of starfish, what I think of is how, when you see their behavior under the sea, I don't want to, I'll do the wrong music, under the sea, but they move in, like, gosh, I don't know what you call, like, multiples of starfish, so I'm just going to call them a flock, but they did something I didn't expect, and I don't know why. I don't know what I thought they did, just sat there and looked pretty like ornaments, but I guess they have to move around to feed and stuff like that. So what I saw was, what the heck are you blooping about? What I saw was a whole, like, field of them on the bottom of the ocean, and then something happened in like the natural course of their lives that caused them to, like, all, like, move at once, you know, like the whole field of starfish just all started moving this one way. Now, when I saw that, it was years ago, so sorry, I don't remember what was happening there, but I mean, it's always like feeding or running from being food or something like that. I feel like that's the, like, never-ending dynamic under the sea. But that was surprising. I was not expecting to see the movement, and you know what it reminded me of was Poltergeist, the first one, the original one, with Craig Nelson and, what was that woman's name? I can't remember the female co-star, but that's not hard to look up. But there was a part in that movie. I'm probably not going to spoil anything because I saw this movie when I was like 11 or something with my mom in the theater, so it's old. And if I spoil this one little part for you, sorry, but not really, because you can tell me a whole movie and a whole book, and I'm still going to have my own impression when I read that movie or see that book. It's like, you can tell me stuff, but it's not going to make my own perception of it. It's not gonna affect that. So anyway, let me now read from the guidebook what it has to say about the starfish. Starfish is a natural and exquisite beauty. Beautiful, alluring, superficial, or shallow. Well, wow, what is that about? The starfish is a natural and exquisite beauty, mesmerizing to all. Being around someone with starfish energy is a thrill, like you've been put under a spell of divinity itself. The problem is, it's always a problem, isn't there? Darn that polarity. Those creatures have been reliant on how they look and what other people think of them for so long that they have forgotten their deeper callings. Well, that whole business about being reliant on how you look and what people think of you could be applicable to so many people in groups right now. I'll just say it, in politics. What else? They want to be famous. They want to be loved. They need to get a dog. Because that is not, government is not where you go to get the love from people. They're mad at you all the time. Don't you, hello, did you not grow up in the world, in the life that you live in? How does it make sense you think you're going to go there and make all these fans? Occasionally you'll be like the best thing in the world, and then like you'll say or do something, and then all of a sudden everybody in the world thinks you're bad and wrong. So I don't know, I think it was a flawed plan if they were looking for people to like them, and like they're Brad Pitt or something, or you know, Meryl Streep or whoever is the desirable star. Okay, what was that? Something touched my face. It's fine. So, yes. It is kind of shallow, I guess, to be concerned with your appearance and what other people think about you. And I feel a waste of time, for one thing, because it's so fleeting. I mean, and just like public opinion, that could change rapidly, you know. So something, okay, fly, go away. Something that I know to be true, and I haven't completely mastered it, but you will feel better and go a lot further if you stop worrying about what other people think about you and how you look, when you make it only your concern. Because, I mean, it kind of is. You're the one that has to wear the clothes, because you look in the mirror. You're the one that buys the clothes. So your opinion is the one that matters, and everyone else can admire you or not, but that I don't think matters or is important. So, I mean, I don't know that you can just decide to be, like, self-aware and composed and not insecure, and to the point where you got to worry about what other people think about you, because they are not a constant in your life. I mean, you may see them at work, or it may be a phrase that you've heard constantly over your life, but it's the letting it bother you or make a difference in your life that I feel is a problem. Like it would be for me. It's too hard to try to please other people all the time. It might not be as hard to please yourself, and then, like I was saying earlier, we're our harshest critics, but we can also be our biggest fans, and we're the ones that have been around to see the growth, and from where it matters on the inside, you know, like, great if other people notice, and good for them for noticing, and thank you, but really, you have to impress yourself, and that's when stuff really starts to happen, because that's something I kind of picked up on later in life. Although, it's funny, like, you can hear stuff your whole life and it won't make its way into your consciousness until you allow it in. And so many things could prevent us from, you know, seeing through to what's important, through all the, like, the chatter and noise that goes on around us, that really you can just ignore most of it, unless it's like, hey, you're about to walk off a cliff, or, you know, your hair's on fire. Because most of the time it's not important or helpful. You know, sorry I have to go to here, but people don't always, I mean, the best don't always have the best feelings about you, don't always want you to succeed. So once again, bring it on home. I mean, if you betray yourself, well, shoot, that's your bad and that's on you, but that is the one place where you should know that you could have refuge. It's good to have support, and it's nice to lean on people, but when we learn how to find those things within ourselves, and we don't have to look outside of ourselves for those things, the better off we'll be. I mean, I haven't put it into 100% practice, but I have found on those occasions when it works, it's true. So, the hollow bone card was talking about teachability, and the part about, I might have to remind myself from the text. Where's that page? About hollowing yourself out and hear the wind blow through you and play you like a flute. That's like surrender to me. And there's a lot of forms of surrender, obviously. I mean, if you have a thesaurus, there's a lot of words that can define it, but in this particular case, I mean surrender things like needing approval from other people rather than getting it from yourself. And surrender your beliefs and your ideas, because we get those and we don't have all of the information, and often they're just not right. Like we've misinterpreted something or gotten bad information. But, you know, from like a learned source also, where we like don't know the tradition and we don't know the ceremony, we can shut the hell up and let them talk and teach us and learn. And we don't always have to opine. So, every moment is a moment to learn, you know, and maybe you can't always go blank in the moment, but you can certainly learn from things in the moment. When you might have to train yourself to pay attention to things, you might not, but things will get in either way. And just because you're not practiced at it doesn't mean you can't begin. So I guess like from every moment there's something to learn in life. And as far as the starfish was concerned, I mean, I don't know that I have more to say about it. But both cards, one tells about teachability or learning, like, but what the hollow bone has to say to you, like, clear your insides out so you can let in some new, important information that's actually going to be of help and help you be of service, because that's the ultimate goal. We have all this other stuff like the chatter and the noise and the things we think we're supposed to do and the things that we are almost like shamed into because societal peer pressure, but there's a lot more to us than that. And I think one way to finding it and getting there is to like ditch all the superficial stuff. And these types of things, like, it sounds like nothing, but when you try to take it on, it's not nothing. So you know, life is a learning experience. Everything that happens to us we can learn from. And I am going to stop talking now. Thank you and good night. Ooh, 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 careful. Oh, I know how to stop it. New camera. I'm still learning.